Welcome once again in the Sleep Enigma. Perhaps the moon is high in your sky, or the stars are just beginning to fade. This is where science continues its soft-spoken exploration and curiosity finds its coziest, most boundless form. Tonight, we're attempting to peer through the veil of what we know into the profound unknowns of dreams and the sleeping brain. We'll explore theories that challenge our everyday understanding of reality, look at the very latest in technological frontiers, and consider the ethical landscapes these discoveries unfold. I truly hope this doesn't keep you awake with wonder, but if it does, consider it a night spent in the company of profound knowledge. Before we begin this incredibly deep dive, if you appreciate these thoughtful journeys into science and wish to support this quiet little corner of the internet, I'd be ever so grateful if you tapped the like button, subscribed, or left a comment sharing a curious thought, or even just where in the world you're tuning in from, as we embark on this truly expansive voyage. All right, take a deep breath, settle in. Let's begin our grandest, quietest expedition into the expanded theater of the dreaming mind. What exactly is a dream? A phenomenological and scientific odyssey. Into internal realities, what exactly is a dream? It sounds like such a simple question, doesn't it? But defining a dream is a bit like trying to hug a cloud. You can kind of get your arms around it, but it slips through your grasp before you can hold on to anything solid. For centuries, humanity has gazed upon the sleeping form and wondered, what grand, mysterious plays unfold behind those closed eyelids? At its core, a dream is a series of thoughts, images, emotions, and sensations that your mind spontaneously creates while you sleep. Think of it as the original personalized streaming service, beamed straight from your brain's very own highly specialized production studio. But it's far more than just a passive viewing experience. Dreams are multi-sensory experiences. You don't just see things. You might feel the texture of a dream object, hear voices or music, smell a familiar scent, or even taste something peculiar. The level of detail and vividness can be astounding, immersing you completely. This immersive quality, the feeling of being there, touches upon the philosophical concept of qualia, the subjective, qualitative properties of experiences. In a dream, the qualia of sight, sound, and touch are as real to the dreamer as they are in waking life. Sometimes the narratives it delivers are dramatic and compelling, pulling you into stories with a surprising emotional pull. Other times, they're wildly absurd, defying all logic and common sense. Occasionally, they can be terrifying, plunging you into realms of fear and anxiety, and more often than not, they are completely nonsensical, defying the laws of physics and waking reality. And yet, despite their surreal qualities, dreams feel incredibly real, viscerally present, while they're happening. In a dream, you might find yourself soaring effortlessly through the sky, plummeting endlessly into an abyss, engaging in a deeply serious debate with a walrus wearing a meticulously tailored tuxedo, or suddenly realizing you're late for a high school exam despite having graduated a decade ago. And here's the kicker. During the dream, you're utterly convinced it all makes perfect, undeniable sense. This is what we call dream logic, a temporary suspension of our waking critical faculties that allows the fantastical to feel perfectly normal, an unquestioning acceptance of absurdity that would never fly in your conscious life. This unique suspension of disbelief allows the brain to engage in highly creative, unconstrained thought processes, potentially fostering novel connections that are harder to achieve in waking consciousness. But why, in the quiet of the night, does your brilliant, highly logical brain embark on such fantastic and often bizarre endeavors? Let's take a journey back in time, way back, to the ancient civilizations where people didn't have the sophisticated neuroscience or sleep labs we do today, but they certainly did have dreams, and they sought to understand them. In ancient Mesopotamia, for instance, dreams were not merely figments of imagination. They were considered profound messages, direct communications from the gods themselves. Move across the ancient world to Egypt, and you'd find an even more specialized approach: professional dream interpreters. These were the sleep-time oracles of their day, highly respected figures who possessed intricate knowledge. If you dreamt of a cat or a sudden flood, or perhaps a truly peculiar sight like a flying crocodile, someone among these interpreters likely had a meticulously scribed scroll detailing its supposed meaning, offering guidance or omens for your waking life. Similar interpretations were found in ancient China, where dreams were seen as messages from ancestors or as indicators of future health. Many indigenous cultures across the globe revered dreams as spiritual journeys, ways to connect with ancestral spirits or gain insights for hunting and community life, often seeing them as a direct conduit to a deeper, more profound reality, a non-ordinary state of consciousness. Fast forward to ancient Greece, and philosophers began to weigh in on this nightly enigma. Figures like Aristotle were among the first to bravely suggest a revolutionary idea, that dreams might actually originate from within the dreamer, from the intricate workings of the body and the mind, rather than being solely divine dispatches from beyond. Despite this early stir of internal causation, the deeply ingrained idea that dreams held special symbolic meaning stubbornly persisted for centuries, weaving itself into the fabric of cultures and spiritual beliefs worldwide. Then came the 19th and early 20th centuries, a period of immense intellectual ferment, and with them the towering figure of Sigmund Freud. This was the man, undoubtedly, who made dreams fashionable again, elevating them from mere nightly phenomena to a central focus of psychological inquiry. Freud famously believed that dreams were the royal road to the unconscious, a direct pathway into the hidden, often turbulent depths of our minds. He argued that they served as a complex, veiled language, revealing our deepest, most primal desires, our suppressed fears, and our forbidden wishes. It was all very dramatic, very compelling. And while modern science has gently but firmly suggested it was probably not entirely accurate in its grandiosity, it undeniably inspired countless hours of introspective, armchair analysis, and, one can only imagine, at least a few exquisitely awkward conversations between individuals and their bewildered therapists. Carl Jung, a brilliant mind who was initially Freud's protege, eventually took a slightly different, though equally profound, route. While respecting the individual's unconscious, Jung believed that dreams connected us to a much broader, shared human experience, what he termed the collective unconscious. For Jung, the symbols that appeared in our dreams, regardless of our individual life stories, possessed deep universal archetypal meaning, resonating with a shared human history and psyche, hinting at universal patterns in the human mind and providing a bridge between the personal and the universal. But here, dear listener, is where modern science, with its gentle but firm insistence on empirical evidence, taps the shoulder of philosophy and says, "Mind if I take a look?" Modern neuroscience takes a much more grounded, data-driven approach. Instead of solely assuming your dreams are intricately coded messages hiding deep secrets about your relationship with your mother, again, apologies to Freud, researchers now meticulously study the actual brain's activity during sleep. And what they've discovered is truly revolutionary. Dreams are not some random, inexplicable phenomenon, but are instead closely, intricately linked to specific, identifiable sleep stages. The most notable and often the most captivating of these is REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and it is during this astonishing stage that your brain is surprisingly active. Indeed, sometimes almost as active as when you're fully awake. You can observe this phenomenon externally. Your eyes dart around. Beneath your closed eyelids, your heart rate subtly rises, and yet, paradoxically, your entire body becomes temporarily paralyzed. This temporary paralysis, a crucial safety mechanism, is likely for the best, because otherwise you'd probably be physically acting out all those wild, often dangerous dream scenarios right there on your pillow. While dreams can technically occur in other stages of sleep, what we collectively call non-REM sleep, these tend to be far more abstract, less visually vivid, and generally, well, more meh. The truly wild cinematic dreams, the ones with talking giraffes, epic superhero flights, and dramatic plot twists that leave you utterly bewildered upon waking, those, my friend, are almost exclusively courtesy of the magnificent theater of REM sleep. Yet despite these incredible scientific strides, here's where it gets truly tricky. Scientists still don't entirely agree on the fundamental question of why we dream. Is it purely a biological byproduct of brain activity, a kind of internal fizzing? Is it your brain diligently defragmenting itself, like an old hard drive, organizing and optimizing its vast data? Or is it still, as the ancients believed, whispering profound symbolic messages in a language we haven't quite cracked, a language that speaks to deeper truths about our existence? The mystery, it seems, is far from solved. To add another layer to this fascinating enigma, not everyone reports dreaming in the same way. Some people claim not to dream at all, though more often than not, it's simply a matter of not remembering them. Dreams are notoriously slippery when it comes to memory. You might wake up with an astonishingly perfect recollection of a dream involving a space opera starring your pet hamster, only for the entire elaborate narrative to evaporate like mist by the time you finish brushing your teeth. So, if you've ever been frustrated trying to recall a dream, don't worry, you're in very good company indeed. The scientific explanation for this elusive quality is that the brain doesn't store dream memories in the same robust long-term fashion that it stores other memories. In fact, the very regions of the brain most responsible for encoding strong, lasting memories, such as the hippocampus, are not as active during REM sleep. This fundamental difference in neural activity is likely why our dream memories tend to fade faster than a Snapchat story. Still, some dreams do manage to stick with us. The particularly vivid ones, the truly terrifying ones, or the emotionally powerful ones, those tend to burn a bit brighter in the mental archive, leaving a lasting imprint. This phenomenon of dreams reflecting recent experiences is often described by the continuity hypothesis, where daily life bleeds into our nocturnal narratives. Of course, dreams aren't just about processing daily leftovers. They can also be wildly, astonishingly creative. Many celebrated artists, musicians, and inventors throughout history have claimed that their most profound insights and inspirations came directly from their dreams. Paul McCartney famously recounted hearing the complete melody for his iconic Song Yesterday in a Dream. The chilling narrative of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein was dreamed up in a vivid nightmare, and the brilliant chemist Dmitri Mendeleev reportedly arrived at the complete structure of the periodic table after seeing it laid out perfectly in a vision during his sleep. These anecdotes, though not scientific proof in themselves, powerfully illustrate that dreams are a unique mental space where the mind is allowed to let loose unburdened by the rigid rules of logic, physics, or conventional thought. Your brain, freed from waking constraints, can experiment, rehearse scenarios, fantasize without judgment, and deeply reflect, all without you lifting a single finger. It's a bit like going to the movies every night, except the scriptwriter. The director, the set designer, and every single member of the cast are all you, and none of them quite know what they're doing. But that, paradoxically, is part of the profound magic. Dreams are messy, mysterious, and profoundly human. They are the quiet, undeniable proof that even while our bodies rest, our minds are anything but still. So the next time you drift off to sleep, remember, you're about to star in your very own midnight adventure, a personal narrative that is improvised, unfiltered, and possibly featuring a talking penguin. Sleep tight. The backstage crew, unveiling the intricate architecture of sleep. Let's shift our focus now to the unsung heroes, the meticulous backstage crew that makes your dreams possible, the very architecture of sleep itself. We often simplistically think of sleep as one long, uninterrupted snooze, like pressing a convenient pause button on consciousness for 8 blissful hours. But beneath that tranquil surface, sleep is surprisingly complex, a meticulously orchestrated cycle, far more akin to a grand symphony with distinct movements than a simple off switch. It possesses specific stages, intricate patterns, subtle rhythms, and a clear underlying structure. Scientists, in their quest for understanding, even call it sleep architecture, which makes it sound very impressive, highly technical, and perhaps even slightly expensive. So let's take a quiet, illuminating stroll through the detailed blueprint of sleep. No hard hats or loud machinery needed, just a gentle curiosity. Sleep is broadly divided into 2 major, fundamentally different categories: REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and non-REM sleep. And non-REM sleep itself is further subdivided into 3 distinct stages, helpfully labeled N1, N2, and N3. These aren't obscure droids from a galaxy far, far away, but rather represent progressively deeper states of unconsciousness, each with its unique brainwave patterns and physiological characteristics. These stages cycle through roughly every 90 minutes. Think of it like a beautifully programmed looped playlist that your brain dutifully keeps replaying throughout the entire night, except with considerably fewer annoying commercials and, perhaps, slightly more spontaneous drool. The conductors of sleep, circadian rhythms, and homeostasis. Before we dive into the stages, it's vital to understand the 2 master forces that govern sleep. The circadian rhythm. This is your body's internal, roughly 24-hour clock, primarily regulated by your suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, in the hypothalamus. It responds to light and dark cues, telling your body when it's time to be awake and when it's time to prepare for sleep. Think of it as the steady, reliable rhythm section of our sleep symphony. When your circadian rhythm is out of sync due to jet lag, shift work, or inconsistent bedtimes, your sleep architecture suffers. Sleep-wake. Homeostasis. This is like a growing sleep debt. The longer you're awake, the stronger the drive to sleep becomes. Adenosine, a neurochemical, builds up in your brain during wakefulness, acting like a natural sedative. When you finally sleep, adenosine levels decrease. This is the natural pressure that ensures you eventually must sleep. These 2 systems work in tandem to orchestrate your nightly descent into rest, but their delicate balance can be easily disrupted, leading to fragmented sleep or even chronic sleep disorders. Stage N1, the gentle descent into slumber. This is the initial, lightest stage of sleep, the exquisite moment when you're just beginning to drift off. You're still somewhat aware of the world around you. You might hear distant sounds or sense a change in temperature, but your brain has already started to subtly shift gears, initiating its journey away from active wakefulness. In this delicate transition, you might experience those sudden, involuntary muscle twitches or a fleeting sensation of falling, which often causes you to jerk briefly awake. Don't worry, that's not your soul making a hasty departure from your body. It's just your nervous system glitching ever so slightly, a tiny tremor on the way down into deeper rest. The rapid, active beta and relaxed alpha brainwaves, characteristic of wakefulness, begin to slow, transitioning into slower, more undulating theta waves. It's the true twilight zone, suspended between the clear reality of waking and the hazy beginnings of dreaming. If someone were to gently wake you up during N1, you might earnestly insist you weren't asleep at all, which in a technical sense is almost true, and also charmingly, slightly delusional. Stage N2, the heart of light. Sleep. As you sink a little deeper into the embrace of sleep, you enter stage N2. Here, your body temperature begins to subtly drop, your heartbeat steadies and slows, and crucially, your eye movements cease altogether. This is where your brain truly starts to get serious about the business of sleep. You're not quite immersed in the vivid narratives of dreams yet, but you're definitely not responsive to external calls or demands. In this remarkably stable stage, the brain begins to exhibit distinctive little bursts of electrical activity. These are playfully named sleep spindles and K-complexes. While these might sound like quirky indie rock bands, they are in fact incredibly important protective mechanisms. They act as your brain's internal gatekeepers, helping to actively keep you asleep by efficiently blocking out distracting external stimuli. That persistent car horn blaring outside, your brain just gave it a gentle, well-timed shush with a precisely deployed sleep spindle. You'll spend a significant portion, typically about half, of your entire night in this stage. It's truly the workhorse of sleep. Perhaps not the flashiest or most dramatic, but profoundly important for maintaining sustained rest and preparation for deeper stages. It's also been proposed that N2 plays a substantial role in consolidating declarative memories, those facts and events you experienced during the day, preparing them for more permanent storage. Specifically, the sleep spindles are thought to be critical for the transfer of new memories from the hippocampus to the more stable storage sites in the cortex, a process vital for learning. Stage N3, deep sleep. The restorative powerhouse now. You've reached the deep end. This is stage N3, also powerfully known as slow wave sleep or delta sleep. This, my friend, is the big one. It's the truly restorative phase, the essential deep clean cycle on your brain's internal dishwasher. In N3, your brain begins to produce large, slow and remarkably high amplitude electrical waves known as delta waves. These immense lumbering pulses of activity wash majestically through your cortex, much like gentle, powerful waves lapping against a vast, serene beach. This is the physiological powerhouse of sleep. This is when your body diligently repairs and regenerates its tissues, strategically builds new bone and muscle, and vigorously strengthens your immune system, preparing you for the challenges of the next day. If you're a growing child, your body releases the crucial growth hormone predominantly here. While us adults unfortunately don't get any taller, we still reap immense benefits from this profound cellular spring cleaning, vital for maintenance and repair. It is notoriously difficult to wake someone from this profound state of deep sleep, and if you manage to do so, they will likely be intensely groggy, disoriented, and understandably a little annoyed, much like being abruptly yanked out of a very warm, comforting bath by the sudden blare of a foghorn. While some fragmented, abstract forms of dreaming can occur in this stage, they are typically not the vivid, cinematic kind. Instead, they're more like static-laced flashes of thought, a pervasive emotional tone or vague, fleeting impressions. The real movie magic with its full sensory immersion happens next. REM sleep, the dream factory unveiled. Welcome, dear listener, to REM sleep, the stage of rapid eye movement. This is the truly mysterious and often paradoxical realm where the brain, seemingly against all logic, lights up with fervent activity. Here, your body's major voluntary muscles go completely limp, entering a state of temporary paralysis, while your eyes, hidden beneath your closed lids, dart around erratically and rapidly, as if they're intently watching an invisible high-speed tennis match. REM is the stage where the vast bulk of your most vivid, most bizarre and most emotionally intense dreams occur. It is the brain's very own sandbox, a playground for strange, compelling stories, for illogical leaps of thought, and for the occasional, utterly unexpected celebrity cameo. But REM sleep isn't just a nightly form of entertainment. It plays a demonstrably vital role in critical cognitive functions, including memory consolidation, particularly of procedural memories and complex learned skills, deep emotional processing, and the enigmatic wellspring of creativity. Some researchers even passionately believe that REM sleep helps you meticulously sort through the emotional messiness and complexities accumulated during your waking day, much like diligently sweeping up the colorful confetti after a particularly wild and exuberant parade. And here's the truly strange part, the profound paradox of REM. During this stage, your brain is incredibly active, sometimes exhibiting neural activity levels just as high as when you're fully awake and conscious. Yet your body, in stark contrast, remains almost completely still. In fact, as mentioned, you experience a crucial kind of temporary protective paralysis called REM atonia. This is an evolutionary safety feature, a brilliant piece of biological engineering that prevents you from physically acting out the often wild and energetic movements of your dreams. It's like your brain has a little internal dialogue. It says, all right, let's imagine you're being chased by a colossal, sentient jelly bean. And your body, in perfect physiological response, dutifully replies, cool, I'll just lie here completely, motionless and safe. Each successive REM phase actually gets progressively longer as the night unfolds. Your very first REM cycle of the night might last a mere 10 minutes, a brief sneak preview. But by the time morning approaches, a single REM phase can stretch to an hour or even more. This lengthening is precisely why dreams often feel much longer, much weirder, and significantly more vivid as the night wears on, especially those that wake you up just before your alarm. The full sleep cycle, a nightly symphony. So putting all these intricate pieces together, this is the magnificent, recurring ballet of your nightly sleep. Your brain begins its journey in light sleep, N1, then gently drifts into the slightly deeper N2 before sinking into the profound depths of N3 for some heavy-duty cellular repair and physiological restoration. After this vital work, it gracefully pops into REM for a bit of late-night theater. Then this entire intricate cycle restarts, beginning anew. This full cycle lasts approximately 90 minutes, and typically you repeat it 4 to 6 times over, the course of a full night's sleep. However, the proportions of each stage subtly shift as the night progresses. Early in the night, you predominantly experience more deep, restorative N3 sleep. Later in the night, REM sleep becomes increasingly dominant. It's as if your brain prioritizes the essential maintenance work and deep physical repair first. Then, once the heavy lifting is done, it settles in for some truly immersive, internal, entertainment and emotional processing. Why sleep architecture matters, the foundation of well-being and age-related changes. Now you might wonder, why does any of this intricate architecture truly matter to your daily life? Because when this delicate and carefully balanced sleep architecture is disrupted, whether by the insidious creep of chronic stress, the stimulating jolt of late afternoon caffeine, the pervasive glow of blue light from screens before bed, or that relentless late-night existential crisis, it profoundly messes with everything else. You might find yourself unable to reach the crucial depths of N3 sleep, or your vital REM phases might be tragically cut short. The immediate result? You wake up feeling not just tired but groggy, profoundly unrefreshed, and quite frankly mildly betrayed by your own biology. It's also important to note that sleep architecture changes throughout life. Infants spend a disproportionately high amount of time in REM sleep, up to 50%, crucial for brain development. As we age, the amount of deep N3 sleep significantly decreases, making older adults more prone to sleep disturbances and potentially impacting memory consolidation and physical restoration. So understanding these age-related shifts helps us tailor sleep advice for different life stages. Sleep isn't just one singular, undifferentiated state. It is, in fact, a carefully balanced, dynamic rhythm, with each distinct stage playing its indispensable part in your overall physical and mental well-being. Understanding this rhythm, even at a basic level, can empower you to get demonstrably better rest. You don't need to aspire to become a certified sleep technician, but simply respecting this intricate architecture by striving for a steady, consistent sleep schedule, by consciously reducing your exposure to bright light before bed, and by judiciously avoiding caffeine too late in the day, helps your magnificent brain do what it does best: quietly, efficiently, and brilliantly orchestrate your inner world, all without needing to wake you up to brag about its impressive feats. So tonight, as you drift off to sleep, remember, your brain isn't just shutting down. Instead, it's about to launch into a beautifully choreographed routine, a complex and essential nightly performance, complete with intricate brain waves, rapid eye movements, protective spindles, and a grand series of dream sequences. You may not remember all of it, but your body and your mind, profoundly rejuvenated, will undoubtedly thank you for it. Why do we dream? Unraveling the night's deepest secrets and the nature of consciousness. Why do we dream? It's a question that has haunted philosophers, captivated scientists, and inspired countless sleepy poets for millennia. And despite all our dazzling technology, our sophisticated brain imaging, and our relentless late-night pondering, the truth, in its humbling complexity, is that we still don't know for sure. Dreams remain one of the last truly mysterious frontiers of the human experience, a nightly detour into stories our brains insist on telling, often without scripts, without adherence to basic logic, and frequently without any discernible continuity. Some dreams, when we recall them, feel profoundly meaningful, laden with a sense of personal significance or insight. Others are just plain, delightfully odd. One moment you're inexplicably back in school, feeling that familiar pang of anxiety, and the very next you're being chased through the chaotic aisles of a supermarket by a giant duck wearing roller skates. Why? What conceivable purpose could such a bizarre, seemingly nonsensical scenario possibly serve? And yet, Your incredibly complex brain went to the immense trouble of creating it, generating the sounds, the visuals, the emotions, the entire immersive production, all while you were completely unconscious. The sheer investment of neural resources suggests a deeper function. Many scientists currently believe that dreams are intrinsically linked to memory processing and consolidation. Think of your brain during the day. It's like a tireless collector, gathering an avalanche of information. Faces you glimpse, facts you learn, conversations you engage in, minor disappointments, delicious lunch menus, and even those incredibly persistent stray TikTok jingles. All of it pours into your mental landscape. At night, it desperately needs to sort through all that mental clutter to make sense of the day's deluge. According to the memory consolidation theory, dreams are a vital part of this elaborate cleanup job. They're a sophisticated, dynamic mental filing system. Your brain diligently decides what information to keep, what to toss into the cerebral wastebasket, and what to send to that mysterious, ever-expanding place where lost socks, forgotten passwords, and half-remembered childhood toys perpetually reside. Interestingly, studies have shown that students who intensively study or learn a new complex skill tend to exhibit more REM sleep afterward, and perhaps even more captivatingly, they sometimes even report dreaming about what they've been studying. So yes, technically, cramming in your sleep is, in a very real, albeit dreamlike sense, a phenomenon that occurs, though your dream self might hilariously confuse calculus equations with animated cartoon animals. Another compelling possibility is that dreams fundamentally help us process and regulate our emotions. During the unique state of REM sleep, the brain behaves in a fascinating and highly adaptive way. Crucial emotional centers, particularly the amygdala, that little almond-shaped region deep in your brain, become highly active and engaged. Simultaneously, however, the levels of stress-related neurochemicals like norepinephrine significantly simmer down. This unique combination allows your mind to revisit emotionally charged memories or experiences from your waking life without the full, overwhelming weight of panic, fear, or distress that might accompany them during wakefulness. It's like having a dedicated, highly empathetic therapist inside your head who's willing to role-play your most awkward social interactions, but with the added bonus of wildly surreal, often beautiful scenery. That dream you had where you were, calmly, even rationally, arguing with your ex atop a slow-moving elephant. That might just have been your brilliant brain's deeply effective, if unconventional, way of saying, "Hey, I'm working through it, processing these complex feelings." This process, called emotional catharsis or fear extinction, is vital for mental health, helping to extinguish the emotional charge of traumatic memories. Then there's the intriguing idea that dreams serve as a kind of threat simulator. According to this evolutionary theory, dreaming is our ancient primal brain's ingenious way of preparing us for potential real-life dangers by running through countless imaginary scenarios. Think of those common dream themes: being chased relentlessly, finding yourself hopelessly lost in an unfamiliar city, being attacked by a shadowy figure, or arriving catastrophically late for a crucial exam you never studied for in a class you never even attended. In these scenarios, your brain is, in essence, practicing how it might respond to genuinely high-stakes situations. It's a form of virtual rehearsal, a biological flight simulator, if you will, though admittedly a slightly unhinged, wildly exaggerated rehearsal. Compelling evidence for this theory comes from observations that people who grow up or live in more dangerous, high-stress environments often report more frequent and more vivid dreams, almost as if their minds are compelled to stay on high alert, continuously running these survival simulations, even during the deepest hours of sleep. So the next time your dream abruptly drops you into a collapsing building, while simultaneously demanding you recite the alphabet backward, it just might be your primal instincts diligently doing a late-night fire drill, refining their adaptive responses. However, not all prominent scientific theories about dreams are rooted in grand emotional processing or evolutionary imperatives. One of the more purely mechanical, yet incredibly influential explanations is something called the activation synthesis hypothesis. This view, initially proposed by J. Allen Hobson and Robert McCarley, posits that dreams are fundamentally the result of largely random electrical impulses originating in the brainstem during REM sleep. These spontaneous impulses then trigger a cascade of associated images, fragments of memories, and various feelings stored within the brain's vast archives. Your cerebral cortex, the brain's magnificent storyteller-in-chief, the part responsible for creating coherent narratives, then valiantly attempts to piece all these disparate, randomly generated signals together into something that feels somewhat coherent, a narrative that makes some kind of subjective sense. As you might imagine, it doesn't always succeed, hence the delightfully absurd talking ducks and the sudden, inexplicable appearance of your third-grade teacher riding a pirate ship. Dreams in this view aren't purposeful, preordained narratives. They're essentially your highly creative brain making the very best of a very strange, spontaneous, and often chaotic situation, weaving meaning from neural noise. There's also a compelling theory that dreaming plays a significant role in cognitive development, particularly evident in children. It's a well-documented fact that kids dream a lot more than adults, and their dreams are often remarkably more imaginative and bizarre. Talking animals, magical powers, the ability to fly or transform, building strange new worlds out of thin air. It's truly like living a full-blown Pixar movie every single night. Some researchers passionately believe that this intense, imaginative dream activity actively helps the developing brain stretch its nascent problem-solving muscles and deepen its emotional awareness, laying crucial groundwork for future cognitive abilities. So when your child recounts a vivid dream about fighting a ferocious dragon made entirely of spaghetti to rescue a cloud, they're not just being delightfully silly, they're actively growing new, complex pathways in their rapidly developing minds. Even for adults, dreaming may continue to play a vital, often unrecognized role in creativity and problem-solving. Have you ever gone to bed feeling utterly stuck on a complex problem, only to wake up the next morning with a sudden, elegant, and perfectly formed solution that seemingly appeared out of nowhere? That's not magic. That's your brilliant brain, quietly working the night shift, diligently and creatively, free from the logical constraints and distractions of your waking hours. History is replete with famous examples. Beyond Paul McCartney's Yesterday melody, the eminent chemist Auguste Kekulé famously attributed his groundbreaking discovery of the benzene molecule's ring structure to a vivid dream of a snake biting its own tail, leading him to the structure of the benzene molecule. Dreams in this powerful sense allow the mind to wander down unconventional paths it might never consciously consider when fully awake. They free us from the rigid rules of conventional thought and expectation, and sometimes that profound freedom, that uninhibited exploration, leads directly to astonishing insight and breakthrough. This is often termed dream incubation when done intentionally, where a person focuses on a problem before sleep with the intention of dreaming about a solution. And yet, despite all these compelling theories, emotional processing, memory sorting, threat rehearsal, dream synthesis, cognitive development, problem solving, no single definitive explanation has universally won the day. It is in fact very likely that dreaming serves multiple purposes all at once, simultaneously, like a complex late-night variety show where your brain skillfully juggles cleaning house, solving abstract puzzles, rehearsing ancient survival scenarios, and purely for the joy of it, throwing in the occasional unscripted musical number just for fun. That, my dear listener, is the strange, beautiful, and deeply human essence of dreaming. It's not always tidy, it's rarely rational, but it is undeniably, profoundly human. Every single night, your brain spins intricate, personal stories for an audience of one, stories you rarely remember, but that somehow subtly and profoundly shape your emotions, consolidate your memories, and perhaps even fuel the very engine of your waking imagination. The brain in action. A deeper dive into the nocturnal dance of dreams. Have you ever truly wondered what specific parts of your incredible brain are actively responsible for conjuring that utterly bizarre dream where you found yourself frantically trying to take an exam in a swimming pool filled to the brim with giant floating marshmallows? Or perhaps why your dreams are sometimes saturated with such intense, overwhelming emotion, while other times they feel like barely coherent, fragmented montages of leftover thoughts from your day. The answer, dear friend, lies not in just one isolated part of the brain, acting independently, but rather in a truly delicate, exquisitely coordinated nocturnal dance among several distinct brain regions, each playing its own unique and vital role in the grand ongoing theater of the dreaming mind. Let's begin our exploration with the prefrontal cortex. By day, this is the undeniable responsible adult in the room, the highly organized logical thinker, the meticulous planner, the internal voice that gently, or sometimes not so gently, whispers, "Maybe don't send that email in all caps to your boss." It's the command center heavily involved in complex decision-making, rational thought processes, and crucial impulse control. But when you fall asleep, especially as you enter the vibrant world of REM sleep, this particularly industrious part of your brain takes a much-needed little nap of its own. It significantly quiets down, steps aside from its usual executive duties, and consciously lets the rest of the brain take center stage. The fascinating result? Dreams that are delightfully illogical, boundary-pushing in their narrative, and often, quite frankly, completely bonkers. Without the prefrontal cortex diligently overseeing things, providing its usual rational veto, the brain is free to spontaneously combine ideas and images in the most unfiltered, most uninhibited, and often most absurd ways possible. It's like your inner editor has finally left the room for the night, and now the wildly imaginative art department has taken over, running completely wild with the creative reins. Meanwhile, other vital areas of the brain are lighting up with fervent activity. The amygdala, for example, becomes particularly, even intensely active during REM sleep. This tiny almond-shaped little region, nestled deep within the brain's temporal lobe, is the primary processing center for emotions, especially the powerful, primal ones like fear, anger, and pleasure. So when you find yourself trapped in a dream where you're being relentlessly chased through a labyrinthine airport by someone eerily dressed as your beloved childhood pet, you can largely thank your amygdala for dialing up the emotional intensity to such a compelling degree. It's the part of the brain that makes these dreams feel so incredibly important, so viscerally real, even when their underlying plot makes absolutely zero logical sense. And here's a crucial point. Because your brain's typical stress response systems are significantly dialed down during REM sleep, you can re-experience these intense emotions in a relatively low-stakes, safe environment. In other words, you might feel profound fear or exhilarating thrill in a dream, but largely without the accompanying heart-racing panic or physiological distress that would grip you in a real-life waking danger scenario. Then there's the hippocampus, often affectionately referred to as your brain's librarian, primarily responsible for the intricate processes of creating, organizing, and retrieving your memories. It's also intimately linked with the phenomenon of dreaming, especially when dreams incorporate real places you've visited or familiar faces you know from your waking life. The hippocampus helps retrieve the raw materials your dreams utilize. That quaint restaurant you passed earlier in the day, that catchy song that inexplicably got stuck in your head, or perhaps even your second-grade teacher who inexplicably reappears in a dream as a surprisingly agile karate champion. However, the hippocampus isn't fully online or engaged in its usual memory encoding mode during REM sleep. This crucial distinction may be precisely why dream memories tend to be so frustratingly disjointed and extraordinarily hard to recall upon waking. It's as if the filing cabinet is wide open, but the lights are dim, making it difficult to properly read and store the contents. Another incredibly intriguing player is the occipital lobe, strategically located at the very back of the brain. This is your primary visual processing center. During REM sleep, the occipital lobe shows significant and widespread activity, which makes perfect anatomical and functional sense given how profoundly visual dreams often are. Remarkably, even people who are born blind often report vivid sensory dreams, though theirs are typically focused on incredibly rich experiences of sound, touch, and detailed spatial awareness, rather than sight. For the rest of us, dreams are like highly personalized, immersive mini-movies, filled with constantly shifting landscapes, peculiar and atmospheric lighting, and utterly unexpected camera angles. It's your brain's very own internal film studio, operating entirely without eyes. And then we have something truly fascinating, often referred to as PGO waves, an acronym standing for pontogeniculo-occipital waves. These are distinct, rhythmic bursts of neural activity that originate in the pons, a crucial part of the brainstem. From the pons, these waves then elegantly move through the lateral geniculate nucleus, a key relay station intimately involved in visual processing within the thalamus, and finally, they reach their destination in the occipital cortex. It is widely believed that PGO waves play a pivotal role, almost like an internal trigger, in initiating the transition into REM sleep, and perhaps even more directly, in the fundamental formation of the vivid dream imagery we experience. Some researchers compellingly think of them as the opening act of the dream sequence, akin to someone subtly dimming the house lights and slowly drawing the grand curtain back before the performance truly begins. One of the most profoundly fascinating aspects about dreaming, and a key insight from modern neuroscience, is how the brain manages to become both exquisitely highly active and yet strangely disconnected from external reality at the very same time. During REM sleep, there is a particularly noticeable and crucial decrease in the activity of the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. This is the sophisticated part of your brain that, during wakefulness, is primarily responsible for helping us recognize reality, exert executive control, and make sound judgments. This significant reduction in its activity helps to profoundly explain why your dream self finds it entirely logical, utterly reasonable, and completely unalarming to be having an intensely serious tea party on the moon with a flamingo named Steve. Without the usual, rigid systems of logic, critical reasoning, and adherence to realism firmly in place, the dream world becomes wonderfully, liberatingly fluid, or sometimes alarmingly, terrifyingly so. It's also immensely worth noting that your motor cortex, the specialized part of your brain that sends commands to control all voluntary movement, is surprisingly active during dreaming too. This is why your dream self can run, dance, fly, or flail wildly, performing feats of incredible athleticism or clumsy incompetence. However, and this is truly crucial for your safety, your physical body doesn't actually move. This is because another vital part of your brainstem is doing something very helpful indeed. It is temporarily paralyzing your body's major voluntary muscles. This remarkable physiological phenomenon is called REM atonia, and it is precisely what keeps you from physically acting out your dreams in real life. It's like your incredibly wise brain puts a polite but firm "do not disturb" sign directly on your muscles, ensuring your physical body remains safe and still, while your dream self boldly explores a world that utterly defies the laws of physics. However, in rare and intriguing cases, this essential muscle paralysis doesn't function correctly. This is a fascinating and sometimes challenging condition known as REM sleep behavior disorder. Individuals with this condition might physically act out their dreams, walking, punching, screaming, or even running, sometimes leading to personal injury or injury to a bed partner. This condition, which is a subject of intense research, serves as a stark and powerful reminder of just how much the brain is intricately juggling, balancing, and orchestrating while we're deeply asleep, and how incredibly precise this neural orchestration needs to be to keep the nightly show running smoothly without inadvertently causing chaos in the real world. Expanding the dreamscape, further unveiling the night's grand symphony and future frontiers, we've covered the foundational architecture, brain regions, and major theories, but the science of dreams is a rapidly evolving field, constantly uncovering new layers of complexity and profound purpose. Let's delve even deeper into some advanced concepts, cutting-edge insights, and the very frontiers of our understanding, including how dreams are shedding light on the very nature of consciousness itself. The brain's chemical ballet, neurotransmitters, and neural oscillations in detail beyond specific brain regions, the intricate communication within and between these vast neural networks is orchestrated by a delicate and dynamic balance of neurotransmitters, the remarkable chemical messengers of the brain, and specific neural oscillations or brain waves. These waves are like the rhythmic language of the brain, dictating its various states of consciousness and guiding its specific functions. Acetylcholine, ARCH. The dream switch. This powerful neurotransmitter is a crucial player in the initiation and maintenance of REM sleep. High levels of acetylcholine, particularly originating from cholinergic neurons in the pons region of the brainstem, are thought to directly drive the brain's high level of activity, the rapid eye movements, and the vivid immersive imagery characteristic of REM dreams. It essentially acts as the on switch for the dream state, flooding key brain areas and preparing them for the intense, internally generated experience. Monoamines, norepinephrine, serotonin, dopamine, dimming the external world and shaping content. Interestingly, the release of key monoamine neurotransmitters, norepinephrine, associated with alertness, attention, and the fight-or-flight response, serotonin, influencing mood, sleep, and appetite, and to some extent dopamine, linked to reward and motivation, plummets dramatically during REM sleep. This unique neurochemical environment is profoundly crucial for dreaming. The significant reduction in norepinephrine allows the brain to reactivate emotionally charged memories without triggering the full-blown, anxiety-inducing panic response that would grip you in wakefulness. This contributes immensely to emotional regulation and the extinction of fear responses to past events. The absence of serotonin also likely contributes to the profoundly altered, often illogical states of consciousness we experience in dreams and the often bizarre, disconnected, yet compelling nature of dream narratives. The specific modulation of dopamine, while not completely shut off, may contribute to the often reward-seeking or goal-driven aspects of some dreams, even if the goals are bizarre. GABA and glutamate, the yin and yang of sleep. The balance between inhibitory GABA and excitatory glutamate neurotransmitters is critical for the overall sleep-wake cycle. During NREM sleep, GABA activity increases to quiet neural activity and promote deep rest. As we transition to REM, the balance shifts, with more nuanced interplay allowing for the paradoxically active brain state. Brainwaves, the rhythmic language of sleep. Delta waves, N3. These slowest, highest amplitude waves are the hallmark of deep, restorative sleep. They are crucial for cellular repair, growth hormone release, and the initial stages of memory consolidation, particularly the transfer of memories from short-term to long-term storage. Theta waves, N1, N2 REM, slower than alpha, associated with drowsiness, meditation, and creative states. Their presence in REM indicates a state of internally focused attention. Alpha waves, relaxed wakefulness, N1, occur when you're awake but relaxed, eyes closed. As you drift into N1, alpha waves diminish. Beta waves, awake alert. Fast, low-amplitude waves, characteristic of active, alert thinking. These are largely absent in deep sleep, but reappear in the highly active REM state, contributing to the feeling of waking consciousness within the dream. Gamma waves, REM, lucid dreaming. These are very high-frequency oscillations, typically above 30 Hz. During wakefulness, gamma waves are strongly associated with conscious awareness, focused attention, and the seamless binding of different sensory inputs into a coherent, unified perception of reality. Their sporadic presence and increased power during REM sleep, especially during moments of heightened dream clarity or the incredible state of lucid dreaming, strongly suggest bursts of enhanced consciousness even within the dream state. It's as if for fleeting moments, parts of your dreaming brain achieve a level of self-awareness and integration remarkably akin to being fully awake. The thalamus, the brain's sensory gatekeeper. The thalamus, a crucial relay station deep in the brain, plays a pivotal role in sleep and dreaming. During NREM sleep, the thalamus largely shuts down its relay function, effectively preventing external sensory information from reaching the cortex. This allows for deep, undisturbed sleep. However, during REM sleep, the thalamus becomes active again, but instead of relaying external sensory information, it relays internal signals from the brainstem and other areas, which are then interpreted by the cortex as vivid dream imagery and sensations. It's like the thalamus switches from being a doorman to a projector operator, showing an internal movie. The continuum of consciousness. Beyond the binary, recent cutting-edge research is increasingly challenging the simplistic binary of being either awake or asleep. Instead, consciousness appears to be a much more nuanced and dynamic continuum, with various states of mind exhibiting different levels of awareness, self-reflection, and integration. Dreams, particularly the remarkable phenomenon of lucid dreams, offer a truly unique and invaluable window into this complex spectrum of consciousness, suggesting that consciousness is not an on-off switch, but a dimmer. Lucid dreaming, the conscious dreamer. This is the truly remarkable state where you become explicitly aware that you are dreaming while the dream is actively happening. In a lucid dream, you can often gain a significant degree of control over the dream's narrative, manipulate its characters, or even alter its environment at will. This extraordinary state is associated with a distinctive surge of increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the very part of your brain that is typically suppressed during non-lucid REM sleep. This suggests that the re-engagement of these higher-order executive functions, such as self-reflection and critical appraisal, allows for the realization and manipulation of the dream state. Lucid dreaming is actively being explored for a range of therapeutic applications, such as practicing coping strategies for chronic phobias, rehearsing difficult social interactions, or even overcoming the oppressive grip of recurring nightmares. It's like having access to a highly personalized, endlessly customizable virtual reality training ground that you yourself can fully control. Evolutionary perspectives. Why we dreamed our way to success. The sheer physiological cost of REM sleep. The brain is burning a significant amount of energy, sometimes more than during quiet wakefulness, strongly suggests that it must offer a vital evolutionary advantage, a why that transcends mere entertainment. Offline learning and skill rehearsal. Beyond its role in consolidating declarative memories, facts and events, REM sleep is now understood to be profoundly crucial for integrating newly acquired information and for refining procedural memories. These are the memories of skills, motor sequences, and how-to knowledge. Dreaming of performing a complex skill, such as gracefully playing a new musical instrument, meticulously executing a dance routine, or expertly navigating a new, challenging environment, might not just be random imagery. It could be your brain's intensive internal rehearsal, tirelessly solidifying neural pathways without requiring any physical exertion or real-world energy. This offline practice would have provided a profound evolutionary advantage for our ancestors, allowing them to perfect critical complex behaviors like hunting techniques, intricate tool-making, or highly effective strategies for escaping predators in a safe, energy-efficient, and internally simulated way. Social simulation and emotional mastery. Many dreams feature complex, often emotionally charged, social interactions, unresolved conflicts, or nuanced relational scenarios. This observation has led to the compelling idea that dreams serve as a sophisticated social simulator. They allow the brain to practice and refine complex social strategies, develop deeper empathy for others, anticipate a wide range of reactions, and mentally rehearse conflict resolution in a safe, low-stakes environment. This refinement of social intelligence, the ability to navigate complex group dynamics, would have been absolutely critical for successful group living and the survival of our species. Furthermore, dreams act as a nightly emotional detox. By reactivating stressful or emotional memories in the absence of the stress hormones, like norepinephrine, REM sleep helps to gradually strip away the strong emotional charge from these memories, allowing for healthier emotional processing and resilience. The brain's maintenance and development, more than just sleep is fundamental, not just for daily function and our immediate well-being, but for long-term brain health, ongoing learning, and profound neurodevelopment. The glymphatic system, the brain's nightly plumbing. A relatively recent and groundbreaking discovery is the glymphatic system. This remarkable plumbing system of the brain essentially opens up during sleep. During wakefulness, brain cells are tightly packed, but during sleep, the spaces between neurons expand by up to 60%, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely, literally flushing out metabolic waste products and toxins that accumulate during the day, including beta amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. This deep cellular cleansing is thought to occur predominantly during slow-wave N3 sleep. It highlights the profound physical necessity of sleep for clearing out the day's debris and maintaining a healthy brain environment. Synaptic homeostasis. Hypothesis SHY. Pruning the overgrowth. This influential theory, primarily championed by Dr. Giulio Tononi and Dr. Chiara Cirelli, proposes a fascinating idea. During our waking hours, our brains are constantly learning, absorbing vast amounts of information, which leads to a massive strengthening of synaptic connections, the communication points between neurons. This constant strengthening becomes energetically unsustainable and can lead to neural saturation. Deep NREM sleep, according to Shai, acts as a global downscaling mechanism. It intelligently weakens less important, less activated synapses back to a baseline level, a process often referred to as synaptic pruning. This unlearning or decluttering makes the brain more efficient, less saturated, and optimally ready to learn new information and form new memories the very next day. Dreams could be the subjective, often chaotic experience that accompanies this massive nightly neural reorganization and pruning. Brain development in infants building the blueprint. Infants spend a disproportionately high amount of time in REM sleep, up to 50% or even more of their total sleep time, a percentage that steadily decreases throughout childhood. This profound, evolutionary investment in REM sleep during early life strongly suggests that it plays a critical, irreplaceable role in the initial wiring, rapid maturation, and intricate organization of the developing brain, particularly in forming fundamental sensory, motor, and emotional pathways. Dreams in early life might be the subjective experience of this massive developmental process, a kind of internal simulation helping to lay the foundational neural architecture for future cognition and perception. The default mode network, DMN, the brain's inner narrator. This network of interconnected brain regions is highly active when your mind is at rest, engaged in introspection, self-referential thought, future planning, or recalling past events. Essentially, when your mind is wandering. The DMN is very active during sleep, particularly REM, and its spontaneous activity may contribute to the narrative flow and self-referential nature of dreams, even when the content is bizarre. It's like your brain's internal storytelling committee working overtime. When dreams go awry, clinical insights and the darker side of the dreamscape, studying disturbances in dreaming and sleep offers profound and often heartbreaking insights into underlying brain function and mental health. REM sleep behavior disorder, RBD, a window into neurodegeneration. As we touched on, the failure of REM atonia leads to individuals physically acting out their dreams, sometimes with vigorous and potentially injurious movements. This condition is more than just disruptive. It's often recognized as a significant, early and relatively subtle indicator of underlying neurodegenerative diseases, particularly synucleinopathies such as Parkinson's disease or Lewy body dementia, sometimes preceding the motor symptoms by years or even decades. This strong connection highlights the extraordinarily delicate balance of neurotransmitter systems and brainstem control required for healthy sleep and motor inhibition, offering crucial diagnostic clues. Nightmares and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, the unprocessed trauma. Recurrent, intensely vivid and profoundly distressing nightmares are a hallmark symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. In these harrowing cases, the brain seems trapped in a loop, unable to effectively process and extinguish the overwhelming emotional charge associated with traumatic memories during the emotional processing of REM sleep. This leads to their repetitive, distressing re-experience night after night. This phenomenon suggests a fundamental disruption in the brain's natural emotional regulatory and fear extinction functions during sleep, preventing the crucial resolution of traumatic experiences and perpetuating a cycle of distress. Sleep paralysis, a terrifying experience where you wake up but find yourself unable to move or speak, often accompanied by vivid, hallucinatory visions or sensations. This occurs when you briefly wake up during REM sleep, but your body remains in the state of REM atonia. It's a temporary malfunction of the brain's paralysis switch, often exacerbated by sleep deprivation. Other sleep disorders and dreams, insomnia. While often characterized by difficulty falling or staying asleep, insomnia can also lead to fragmented sleep and an increased perception of dreaming, sometimes more vivid, due to frequent awakenings. Narcolepsy. This chronic neurological condition involves overwhelming daytime sleepiness and sudden attacks of sleep. It's characterized by disorganized REM sleep, with individuals often entering REM sleep very quickly and experiencing vivid, often disturbing, hypnagogic, occurring at sleep onset, and hypnopompic, occurring at waking, hallucinations. Sleep apnea. Repeated interruptions in breathing during sleep can severely fragment sleep architecture, preventing individuals from reaching restorative deep sleep and consistent REM, leading to fatigue and impacting dream content. Dream alterations in mental health, a reflection of inner turmoil. Various mental health conditions, including severe depression, generalized anxiety disorders, and even schizophrenia, are often associated with significantly altered sleep architecture and distinctive, often disturbing, dream patterns. These can include increased fragmented REM sleep, a higher frequency of negative or bizarre dream content, or even a complete absence of dream recall. This close correlation reinforces the powerful idea that dreams are not just a random byproduct of sleep, but an integral and sensitive barometer of our emotional, cognitive, and overall mental well-being. Pharmacological influences. The chemical manipulation of dreams. Many medications, particularly those affecting neurotransmitter systems, such as antidepressants, tranquilizers, or stimulants, can profoundly alter dream frequency, vividness, and content. For example, selective serotonin, reuptake inhibitors (SSRIs), a common class of antidepressants, can suppress REM sleep. If the medication is stopped suddenly, individuals often experience a REM rebound, characterized by an overwhelming surge of incredibly intense, vivid, and sometimes very distressing dreams or nightmares. This direct and observable link between brain chemistry and the subjective dream experience profoundly underscores the intricate biological underpinnings of our complex dream lives. Individual differences and cultural contexts. The human element of dreaming. The scientific study of dreams also increasingly considers the vast range of individual differences and the powerful influence of culture. Personality and dreams. Research suggests correlations between personality traits and dream content. For example, highly creative individuals or those open to experience may report more vivid and fantastical dreams. People prone to anxiety might experience more negative or threatening dream scenarios. Diet and lifestyle. What you eat and how you live can influence your dreams. Spicy foods before bed are anecdotally linked to more vivid dreams, while regular exercise and a healthy diet can promote more restorative sleep, which in turn supports healthy dreaming. Cultural interpretations. While neuroscience seeks universal mechanisms, the interpretation and significance of dreams vary wildly across cultures. What might be an omen in one culture could be simple nonsense in another. This highlights the interplay between biological function and cultural meaning-making. Dream recall variability. Why do some people remember their dreams vividly every night, while others rarely recall a single fragment? Factors like waking up, during REM sleep, having consistent sleep, personality traits, and even diet are being explored. The very act of trying to remember dreams, e.g., keeping a dream journal, can also significantly improve recall over time, suggesting a learnable skill. The uncharted territories, where science still wonders and future frontiers. Despite all these remarkable insights and technological advancements, the dream world holds even more profound secrets, inviting endless curiosity and relentless scientific pursuit. The hard problem of dream consciousness. At the deepest philosophical and scientific level, one of the most enduring mysteries remains. How does mere physical brain activity, the firing of neurons, the flow of neurotransmitters, the rhythmic brainwaves, give rise to the rich, subjective, and often deeply personal lived experience of a dream? This is essentially the hard problem of consciousness, applied to the unique state of the sleeping mind, and it continues to be a central, elusive frontier in neuroscience and philosophy. Decoding dream content. The mind-reading challenge. Can we one day truly read a dream directly from brain activity, visually reconstructing its content? Or perhaps even more controversially, write a specific dream or experience into someone's mind through targeted neural stimulation? Early research using fMRI and AI to predict what images someone is seeing in a dream, or employing targeted neurostimulation during sleep, e.g., using transcranial magnetic stimulation to induce lucid dreams, points to tantalizing possibilities. Such advancements raise immense ethical and philosophical questions about mental privacy, autonomy, and the very nature of our inner experiences, and whether dream manipulation is a line we should ever cross. The function of bizarreness, a creative. Chaos. Is the sheer absurdity, illogical nature, and frequent narrative discontinuity of dreams merely a byproduct of the prefrontal cortex's temporary deactivation as proposed by activation synthesis? Or does this apparent chaos serve a deeper, unrecognized purpose? Perhaps to actively promote incredibly divergent thinking, to intentionally break us out of rigid mental ruts, to foster novel connections, or perhaps simply to serve as a crucial reality check that prevents us from confusing our vivid internal dream worlds with our actual waking reality? Dreams and physical healing, the unseen connection. Beyond their undeniable role in mental and emotional well-being, are there subtle yet profound ways in which dreams or specific sleep stages contribute directly to physical healing, cellular repair, or the fine-tuning of the immune system? Given the intense restorative processes occurring during N3 and the active restructuring of the brain during REM, this remains an intriguing and open area for future investigation. The evolutionary purpose of sleep itself. While we focused on dreaming, the fundamental question of why animals sleep at all remains. Is it solely for energy conservation, restorative processes, brain plasticity, or perhaps even to escape predation during periods of vulnerability? Dreams are intrinsically tied to this broader evolutionary imperative of sleep, this deeper, expanded exploration. Much like the dreams themselves, is a continuous unfolding journey of discovery. The dreaming brain is not just a passive recorder of the day's events, nor merely a random noise generator. It is an incredibly active, profoundly creative, and utterly essential participant in maintaining our cognitive, emotional, and perhaps even physical well-being. It's a nightly journey into a personal, internally generated reality, forever reminding us of the mind's boundless capacity and its still largely uncharted territories.